If you are pregnant or you've recently had a baby, this podcast is for you. I am your host, Kath Bequee, a physiotherapist working in women's health and mum of 3. Join me each week as we dive into all things pregnancy care, childbirth and postnatal recovery, helping you have a wonderful pregnancy and afterbirth experience. And don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. Well, hi there. Welcome to episode 35 of the FitNest Mama podcast. So this episode is a bit different to normal, as this is an episode that was actually recorded by the lovely Emily Osmond for the Emily Osmond Show. So she was interviewing me all about the FitNest Mama membership, and after this episode went to air, I realised that I had never told my story on this podcast about how FitNest Mama came about, and more importantly, why it came about. So in this episode, I give an honest account about the ups and downs of starting a business. I discuss my own struggles during my second pregnancy and how these struggles really ignited a passion in me to find a better way to support women during pregnancy and afterbirth recovery, to help them avoid or navigate some of the common problems often faced during this time. So if you're interested in hearing a bit of a behind-the-scenes recount of life as a mum of 3 kids and business life, then this fun episode is for you. But before I do jump into this episode, I just want to let you know that there is a free 5 days, 5 ways to prepare for labour challenge, and this challenge is about to run again at the start of June. So get your names down on the wait list so you don't miss out. This fun, free 5 days will run you through different ways to prepare for labour. And in these 5 days, you'll learn about perineal preparation, like perineal massage, active birth techniques, afterbirth recovery tips, and you will leave the 5 days feeling empowered and more confident about your upcoming birth. To enter this free challenge, head to www.fitnestmama.com/challenge, and the link is in the show notes. All right, let's get into this episode.
Kath, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Em. It's so great to be here.
We've just come off the Elevate retreat, so I was just asking you, how are you going? Are you exhausted? How are you feeling? And you were like, I'm trying to get back some of that relaxed state of mind.
Absolutely. Having 3 kids running around and, a few sick yesterday, I kept channeling my weekend bliss. It was amazing.
Well, today I'm excited to chat with you around how you've evolved your business and how you've created your own online program and what that's looked like for you, different decisions you've made, challenges you've had along the way, and some of the great benefits and outcomes of it for not only you and your business, but also the women that you work with. So perhaps we'll start with, have you always wanted to have an online program? Where did the idea come from?
I've always seen women face to face, and I guess over the last 8 years, I've been having babies and being pregnant, and so it's been a bit stop-start along the way. And I got to a point where I didn't have many hours in the day or the week that I wanted to be working. And I felt like I was getting a longer wait list. It got to the stage where I felt that I could only help 8 women in the day, and if one of my kids was sick, I had to cancel it. So it was getting a bit very stop-start. So that sort of got me thinking, how else can I be helping women? And the other point is that I started to notice a recurring theme. So I see mostly pregnant women and women who've had babies. And it was just amazing how often I felt I was repeating myself in terms of helping them get on top of their issues or their concerns or their problems, that sort of thing. So I started to realise how if we're a bit more proactive in terms of helping women during their pregnancy and afterbirth recovery, then I really believe being proactive would help women thrive more during pregnancy and really thrive with that afterbirth recovery, rather than them, I guess, waiting and then seeing me like at 8 months postnatal or 10 months postnatal when they might have issues with leaking or prolapse or aches and pains that weren't going away. So I felt that women would come and see me in the clinic when they had issues, and I really started to feel a drive that I wanted to help women before they had issues and just help stop those issues occurring. So I guess that's why that thought process started. I thought, how can I help women do this? And that was when the idea of the online workouts, but not just online workouts for pregnant women, but also resources and the support, like how that could really help them have an amazing pregnancy and after birth recovery. And that's when you stepped in, Em.
Oh, look out, look out. So did you have any doubts or fears or anything like that in the lead up to or the launch of the program? Or were you like, yep, this is it and I'm doing it?
I'm sort of person, once I've got an idea and I thought it through and I was just like, this is a winner. Like when I was pregnant with my second, I had really bad pelvic girdle pain and I struggled to leave the house to go and see my physio, even though I was a physio and I worked in a clinic with other physios, to take my toddler when I was in discomfort and pain and drive there, find a car park, wrestle my toddler into the clinic, get my treatment, and worried that my toddler was tearing up the clinic. I knew that this was what I really wished I'd had during my second pregnancy and those after-birth recoveries. So I guess the only doubt I probably did have was thinking, how am I going to fit it all in with the time factor?
Talk to us about it. Like, what did it look like for you figuring out, and how did you figure out how to structure the program, what to include in there, what to price it, what offers to have, what to name it? What did that all look like for you, Kath?
So it's evolved a lot. I knew that I wanted to definitely have pregnancy-safe workouts for women that had the options of workouts if you had aches and pains like pelvic girdle pain, low back pain, that sort of thing. So that was a non-negotiable. That was definitely going to be in the program. And same with the afterbirth recovery. I wanted to make sure women would be confident that they were doing safe workouts to really help with their afterbirth recovery. That did evolve though. Like I started off with some pre-recorded workouts, and that's amazing for women who have a newborn baby. They might do a workout when their baby's sleeping, here and there. But then I also realised a lot of the mums were saying to me, I feel so unmotivated to exercise, or I find I don't have the time, or it's really hard to commit. So that's when I then, after a few months, created some live workouts too that women had to book into, and they got the reminder emails. So that developed. So initially it was just the on-demand library of workouts, and now there's the live and on-demand. And I feel that that really helps with the accountability that a lot of women feel they do need with exercise, but also the flexibility that women also need when they're a new mum or they're pregnant. So that evolved. And then the other non-negotiable is that I knew that I wanted to have modules to help them with each stage of pregnancy, childbirth and afterbirth recovery. So there's a pregnancy module which takes women through how to look after their bodies during pregnancy. There's a childbirth module that helps women prepare for childbirth, active birth techniques, perineal massage, relaxation strategies. And then there's the afterbirth recovery. But I guess what changed, and which was a bit of a surprise, was that I involve guest expert speakers, one a month, and that has been incredible. I've loved it. I went into this thinking it would be very much about the physical side of pregnancy and afterbirth recovery, but having guest expert speakers come in, so hypnobirthing, calm birthing, mindset coaches, childbirth educators, psychologists, like it's amazing how much of a holistic program it has become, and that is a huge benefit. And yeah, I think it's amazing. I never thought it would become that.
And what was behind the decision to bring in the guest experts?
When I've joined up for programs in the past, I know sometimes I join up for a program and then think after a month or so, I'm just not using the program. There's nothing to look forward to. Like it's all just the same. So having a monthly guest speaker and a monthly Q&A on a different topic each month, I think really helps with women staying engaged and really enjoying the program because there's something to look forward to. There's something different coming along. And each time I have a guest speaker, it's recorded and then uploaded into the member hub. And the other thing that's amazing about it is if women ask me a question, if it's not my zone of genius, like if it's not pelvic floor related or, related to their bodies, I'm not going to pretend to know the answer. However, I do have an amazing network of other healthcare professionals. So if I don't know the answer, that's when I can bring on a guest expert speaker and help them with whatever problem they talk to me about. So it's pretty amazing like that. And that's something I didn't actually envisage, or I didn't predict that would happen when I first started the program.
I love it because sometimes we can think it all has to be us, and also that, oh my gosh, I have to know the answer to everything, or people will think that I don't know what I'm doing. But it's so great to bring that, just those different voices, those different areas of expertise into our programs to, like you said, just be able to offer an even more holistic look. And it's a great way for you personally, I'm sure as well, which is what I've found, to even establish just relationships, often turn into friendships with others in our space.
Oh, absolutely. And being a physio, and it's quite insular in terms of we go into the clinic, we're in our little room and we see our patients, and it's great. I love to connect with the women, and I probably always will do some element of clinical work in my practice because I think that's really important in terms of staying, engaged. But it's very insular, whereas being an online program, you would have thought that if you're working from your lounge room or your kitchen table, it would be quite isolating. And having a podcast too, the FitNest Mama podcast, it's amazing how many other people you can meet. That's also been a lovely, surprising addition to the membership, is creating a really lovely network of not just physios, but other healthcare professionals.
How does your business and even your day-to-day look different now with the online program?
Yeah, good question. It's very different. I guess I still work one day face-to-face, but the other days that I'm now working when my kids are at childcare or kinder or at school, well, first of all, I have that flexibility. This morning I went to my daughter's classroom and was a parent-teacher helper, with the reading. So just being able to block out that hour to attend school assembly and that sort of thing is amazing. But having also that ability to connect with more women and help more women in a given time frame. So as I said before, when I work 4 hours a week, I might be connecting with 6 amazing women, whereas there is a long wait list for my clinical work, whereas this way I can see women sooner, earlier, and really help them, I guess, in a more timely manner with their pregnancy and after birth recovery. So yeah, it has definitely changed the way I work. Whether or not this is a good thing or bad thing, I haven't yet worked it out. But having that flexibility with work, it's amazing with kids because I can work in the evenings and the weekends. But then it's a blessing and a curse.
And I'm sure others listening will be curious as to how you do, what tasks you do. I know that you're developing a virtual team, I believe, too, which is really exciting. And you mentioned, Kath, as well, that since launching your membership, you've also gone on to launch a podcast. And I've said to you before, I'm just so impressed by the amount of output you have. You're just incredible. So what does your team look like?
So the membership's been open, I think we're literally on a year now, which is super exciting. It's our first birthday rather. And I'm at the stage of saying to you, 2021, I do need to have some help because I created this membership so that I could be around for my kids and be there when needed. And you go into it with a little bit of ignorant bliss, I think, thinking, this is going to be totally doable. So I do need to outsource more and get some more help so that I can still really just focus on the mums in the membership and really help them achieve their goals. So yes, this year is the year of getting some help with the admin side of things.
That's a great one, Kath, because I found for me that was, it's a very good move to get someone to help with the admin because it's all the little things that take up time, but it's not really actually moving the membership forward and helping, like you said, the women in the group. So I'm sure you'll feel just a bit of a weight off your shoulders to have someone managing some of those things. Yeah.
Can't wait. Can it happen now?
Yeah. And going back to who you have, I believe do you have a podcast team?
Yes, luckily I realised right from the outset if I'm going to do a podcast, I do need to outsource the editing and the production side of things. So I think you got me onto Brianna from Bambi Media. She's amazing, and I just handball her the interview.
All the things, it's like, okay, here you go, you take it from me. Yeah, perfect. And you got a virtual assistant as well?
That's just in the last month, yes. She helps with the podcast side of things too. And I think being a mum as well and, trying to balance work and mum life, you become quite protective of your time because if I'm not working, I'm looking after the kids. So if I'm working more, it means less being involved with the kids. So I've really got to try to honour that work time, and the work that I'm going to do is I really want to just help the mums and help the business. It's an interesting balance, and it's all very new to me as well. I didn't find I had that doing the clinical work. You go to your clinic, you do your work, you finish your notes, you go home. Whereas, it's fun. It's a whole new aspect of business life that I also didn't anticipate, but it's great.
And Kath, your membership has grown quite substantially since when you first opened the doors to it to now. Would you like to share what that looks like now in terms of the women and the number of them that you're helping, which is just crazy. It's amazing.
It's been amazing. Having women just, join up from all parts of Australia, from New Zealand as well. So I launched with just a handful of mums and I think also a handful of friends who were pregnant at the time. And it's grown like throughout the course of the membership. I've had, there's been over 130 sign up over the whole period.
And can you imagine that, by the way, 130 women that you've impacted through their pregnancy journey? Like when you think about it that way, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's fun. And we're still in the infantile stages, and I never thought work would be so much fun. Like I've always loved my work, and my friends always roll their eyes when I start to talk about work. But now that I've got this membership, I just love it even more. It's beautiful to be able to help women, and the community I think is one of the nicest things of the membership, like all the mums chatting inside our private Facebook group and connecting. It's fun. Yeah.
So good, Kath. What would you say to anyone else that's perhaps where you were a year ago and considering perhaps this is something that they can add to their business too? What's your advice to them?
I do think ignorance is bliss. So to a certain degree, just dive into it. Like if you feel that you've got information to share that, again, like what I had, I felt like I kept repeating myself and offering similar advice and information to my pregnant and new mums. And I thought this information, like imagine if all women knew this. If what you do now, you're finding repetitive in nature a little bit, or you can systemize it, then go for it. The membership's evolved so much. It's started totally different. So you don't need to launch or you don't need to start it with the endpoint in mind. Just start it with the basics and build and grow from there. And the beauty of doing that as well is that it grows with your members. So as I said, when my members would ask me a question, I'd be like, that's brilliant. Let's create Q&A on it, or let's create a resource to help you, or so you can really mould your membership to be exactly what your members want and need and what will really help them. So just going for it, building it, listen to your members and evolve.
So good, Kath. And yeah, that's what I love too, is that it's never set in stone. So we can take the pressure off ourselves knowing, let's experiment with this. And that's what I say even today. You might have seen the email to the Modern Marketing Collective. I'm just experimenting with a different structure for doing the calls. And I said, this is just an experiment and we'll see how this goes. So it gives us that creativity and to also keep adjusting and adapting and improving too, which is really, really cool. But we can't do that until we start and we get it out there.
Yeah, it's what they say, isn't it? You can read all the manuals in the world about driving a car, but until you actually get in the car, you can't learn to drive. So you do just have to dive into a certain degree.
That's it, Kath. And what's next with you? What's ahead for your business?
It's really just consolidating what I've built over the last year and adapting it and making it the best it can be. I think it's really important not to go into too many different places all at once, but really just trying to hone in on FitNest Mama, like let it just evolve. And like every new member that comes in brings something different as well and brings different questions. So I just love the evolution, and I'm not in a rush to go on and do anything different, although I do have ideas.
I know, I'm like, we got to focus. Keep building the thing we've got.
Yeah, there's nothing on the horizon except for just really let's hone in on FitNest Mama and keep growing it and evolving it to really help the mums in it.
Well, Kat, thank you so much for joining me today and for just chatting with me about what it's looked like for you to go from being fully clinical in the practice to actually just evolving the business to now offer the online community and educational resources and support for the women that you can help so much, and for them to have a space that they can seek access and advice from you and other experts too. Congratulations on what you've created.
You were just pivotal in helping me with this, and your support throughout. You're always there to cheer me on and cheer us all on inside Scalable. So you're brilliant, so thank you.
Oh, thanks, Kath. I'll chat with you really soon.
Thanks, Em. And before I sign off, remember my team and I will be putting together the show notes for this episode with all the links, including how to connect with Emily Osmond at fitnessmama.com/podcast. And lastly, if you are enjoying this podcast, to be able to leave a rating and a review would mean the world to me. Not only does it make my day, but it also really helps this podcast get discovered by other pregnant and new mums who might really benefit from listening to a few of these podcast episodes. So that's it. Have a fabulous day, everyone, and I look forward to you joining me next week for another episode of the FitNest Mama podcast.